In the first place, a nursing student goes missing in the middle of the night, and her body is discovered in the forests of North Carolina. The individual who is accused of killing her is currently on the run. However, despite the fact that the authorities were successful in busting a sophisticated drug network on the East Coast, one of the alleged deadly traffickers managed to evade capture. In order to locate Samuel Rhodes, we want your assistance. And last but not least, a DNA match that stunned the entire globe. On both coasts, there are investigators. Do you have any idea who the man is that the police say is wanted for this? Is she a mother of 5? Brutal murder, perhaps? What is considered to be the first true crime series is America's Most Wanted. There is no hiding from you. You can only run. Mr. Walsh is my name. I am Callahan Walsh, by the way. And this is the most wanted person in the world. It is tonight that the AMW catch counter has reached 1,192 captures, all thanks to the great suggestions that you have provided. We have successfully apprehended yet another dangerous fugitive. It has been 2 weeks since we made a request for your assistance in locating Davy Alboran. Following the filing of charges against him for child abuse, molestation, and sexual battery against members of his own family who were under the age of 18, he fled the vicinity. Upon discovering what he had done, his 2 adult daughters made it their mission to track him down and ensure that everyone who had been victimized by him received justice. This is my father, it appears. As a result of his attacks on children, he is Osceola's most sought criminal. Everything came out when his final victim, who happened to be my daughter, was revealed to the public. The previous year, I learned that my niece had been injured by my father. As a result of my anger, I decided to publish this on Facebook. You could say that this became viral in a matter of hours. At this moment, I would want to extend my heartfelt gratitude to everyone who has been supporting us and assisting us. My family places a great deal of importance on that. And Anna, and John's narrative from the 1980s was extremely motivational. I was aware that Americans Most Wanted may assist in locating their father. When our show was broadcast, we began receiving information that led us to believe that Alboran was located in the Tampa, Florida area, more especially in the town of Lakeland. Shortly after the 18th, authorities surrounded a residence, relating to one of Alboran's relatives in some way. Alboran was apprehended in the backyard by 2 deputies from the Polk County Sheriff's Office, along with their canine companion. Davy Alboran was finally incarcerated as a result of the diligent efforts of his own daughters, as well as the prompt actions taken by the police after receiving your tips. In order to start over after suffering a personal loss, a young woman decides to come to the United States. At that point, it vanishes without a trace. She had a really bright future, and it was stunning to be a nurse. She made an impression on everyone she met, including the man who was allegedly responsible for a crime that was so callous and so horrific that it got him a spot on the FBI's list of the 10 most wanted. Sandy, as we are familiar with her, is Truc Quan Lai Le. She was originally from Vietnam, and after the passing of her mother, she relocated to Charlotte in order to be with her relatives over there. In school, Sandy was a very good student. Queens College was her educational institution of choice, and she was pursuing a degree in nursing. At the time, she was employed at a Greek restaurant chain in this area known as Showmars. Every single person that spoke about Sandy had nothing but wonderful things to say about her. Sandy had strong bonds with her coworkers, particularly with Alex Castillo, whom she began dating shortly after being hired. The relationship between them came to an end in April of 2016 when Sandy terminated her employment at the restaurant so that she could concentrate on her studies and pursue her goal of becoming a nurse. On August 9th, Sandy informed her family that she would be leaving about 8 o'clock. The neighborhood store at 45 minutes past the hour to pick up something. They had a great deal of distress when she did not return home, since Sandy is a highly responsible person. This is not at all what she would do. Sandy's family filed a report with the authorities for a missing person after she did not return home the following morning. At the beginning of the investigation, detectives began looking through Sandy's iPad, and we found several exchanges that Sandy had with Alex. About 2 months earlier, Sandy had provided Alex with a loan of $1,000. On August 9th, she requested that her money be returned to her, and he informed her, "Hey, I got your $1,000. Let us get together." During the course of our investigation into Sandy's bank records, we have discovered that on the evening that Sandy vanishes, one of her cards was used at an automated teller machine to make a significant withdrawal. An additional $1,000 is withdrawn by her. The fact that Alex is currently at the ATM for the purpose of withdrawing further funds is perplexing to us, because the initial plan for our meeting was to return money. However, it does not appear that she is being pressured in any way. 2 days after Sandy went missing, the police and members of Sandy's family continued their search of the broader Charlotte area. However, they have not yet found any leads. During this time, the families of 2 additional Schomer's employees have also reported that they have gone missing. Mecklenburg County, Charlotte, Area 911. A lost report will be filed by me, Amia Feaster, with whom Alex Castillo was now in a relationship, has not come home. Alex Castillo has not returned home within over 48 hours or answered to calls and texts at all. When 3 young people go missing at the same time and there is no explanation for their disappearance, the concern that arises is not limited to the members of the family. It is without a doubt something that causes us to start shaking our heads in worry. The investigation then takes a startling turn on August 13th, which is 4 days after Sandy's strange withdrawal from the ATM and 2 days after Alex and Amia go missing. Calling their parents is what Alex and Amia do. You should speak with each of them separately and reassure them that everything is all right. But they are unable to provide any explanation regarding where they've gone or where Sandy is. It has been reported that Alex and Amia have embarked on a journey. At 4:33 in the morning on August 10th, they were last seen in this location, which is a Cutie gas station located on the east side of Charlotte. However, given that Alex was the last person who is thought to have seen Sandy in person, the investigators feel that the pair may be concealing the information that they have regarding Sandy's disappearance. For assistance in a missing person investigation, the Charlotte Mecklenburg Police Department reached out to the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI. Through conversations with Amia and Alex's relatives, we were able to obtain information, including the fact that they were attempting to travel to Aguas Calientes in order to visit his father. With the help of video, we were able to capture them crossing the border. Alex and Amia are both noticeable to you. It seemed as though they were prepared and ready to go. It had been planned. Even after it was established that Alex and Amia had successfully crossed into Mexico, the investigators were still looking for Sandy. In their search for Sandy, the Charlotte Police Department made use of every available resource, including a helicopter, canine, patrol, and everything else imaginable. It appears that Sandy received a text message on August 9th, just before midnight, according to the data of her phone. And as a result of that, we were able to determine where she was last seen. And we were able to zero in on a region in Harrisburg, North Carolina, that was located in close proximity to the woods. A surprising discovery is uncovered by investigators deep within the woods of North Carolina on August 17th, a day after Alex and Amia made their escape to Mexico, and 8 days after Sandy made her tragic withdrawal from the ATM. The existence of Sandy's body was found. He had been shot in the back of the head. Sandy had been shot. Currently, this was being investigated as a homicide. These are the words that no parent or member of the family ever wants to hear ever in their lives. For the reason that when someone you care about goes missing, you cling to the hope that they are still alive somewhere in the world. This is the reason why we spend a lot of time discussing it here at the National Center. Indeed, time is of the utmost importance. Please contact the local law enforcement as soon as possible if you have any reason to believe that your child or adolescent has been kidnapped or has gone missing. 2 months have gone since the body of Sandy Lee, who had been killed, was discovered in the forests of North Carolina. Both Alex Castillo and Amy Feaster, who were working alongside them, managed to flee to Mexico. Problems ensue, however, when the two individuals attempt to elude the authorities. During that time, Amy Feaster was residing in Mexico with Alex's family. Not only did she not speak the language, but it was also very different from what she was used to hearing around her. It is thought that Alex broke up with her in the beginning of the month of October. Oh, and here she is, surrounded by a family that she is unfamiliar with. There was no money, and I believe she was missing her home. Amy Feaster has surrendered herself orally. We then coordinated the apprehension in order to bring her back into the United States using that information. However, she does agree that she did, in fact, drop Alex off at Sandy's house. A robbery was going to be made. All of them had already been packed. They had already made preparations to travel to Mexico. Both Alex and Amia are communicating with one another via SMS. Alex was urging her to give him some time, as he was in the process of doing something with the evidence. Without a doubt, she was aware that Sandy had passed away. As a result, Amy Feaster was charged with accessory after the fact following the commission of a felony, which was the murder of Sandy. There is still a search going on for Alex. According to the information that we have, we are under the impression that Alex is still in Mexico, that he has a solid support system. There is something that we are aware of. Simply said, Sandy was an incredible human being. The case was completely illogical. There was no mercy. This was a calculated move. In addition, this particular one is one that will remain in my memory forever. I don't believe that Sandy's family will ever give up hope that Alex will be held accountable for his actions and brought to justice. Alex Castillo is wanted for leaving the country illegally in order to avoid being prosecuted for murder. His eyes are brown, and his hair is even darker. With a height of 5 feet 6 inches and a weight of approximately 185 pounds, he was last seen. At this point in time, he would be 25 years old, and we have an AMW age progression that shows what he would look like even now, in both the presence and absence of facial hair. Castillo is believed to be hiding out in Mexico by the authorities, and they have a compelling basis to believe this. However, it is possible that he is in Aguas Calientes, where he owns family. The Mexican states of Guanajuato and Veracruz are also a possibility. Another possibility is that he has returned to the United States of America. Phoenix, Arizona is somewhere he has ties to. The city of Charlotte, North Carolina, was the location of his last known abode. In addition to being one of the 10 most wanted fugitives by the FBI, they are offering a reward of up to $250,000 for information that leads to his capture. It is the responsibility of the police to locate a pair of individuals who are suspected of stealing expensive automobiles from multiple valets in the Tampa, Florida area in recent times. There may have been as many as 5 incidences that are connected to this theft. Check out this security video of the 2 of them from the summer before last. Before shamelessly stealing the keys in broad view of everyone else around them, Tweedledee and Tweedledum were staking out the unattended valet stand. Take a close look at it. One finds the automobile in the parking lot and waits for his friend to drive out of there without anyone noticing. This is done without anyone suspecting anything. And further month has passed, and here they are once more, assisting themselves to the keys that are located at the valet stand, and then leaping into another vehicle that does not belong to them and driving away. Both of these individuals are suspected of being involved for 5 separate instances of vehicle theft, according to the police. Among the vehicles in question are a Lamborghini, a Mercedes C63, and a Land Rover Discovery. Simply give us a phone or drop us an email right away if you have any information about either of these scoundrels. Or AM-TIPS, which is 866 AMW TIPS. The calm. At this time, the most important objective for AMW is not just to locate fugitives, but also to locate as many children who have gone missing as we possibly can and to bring them back to their homes in a secure manner. This week, we request your assistance in locating Noelle Sophie Zizi, who is 13 years old. Although she is currently in Dallas, Texas, Noelle is originally from Kennesaw, Georgia. Her eyes are dark and her hair is not white. Also, she was 4 feet and 1 inch tall and weighed somewhere between 90 and 100 pounds when she was last seen. In October of 2021, Noelle was absent from her home. Call us at 866 AMW TIPS or send your information at AMTIPS if you have any information about the whereabouts of Noelle Zizi. The calm. Our goal is to bring her back to her family and ensure that she is safe and secure at home. Martinsburg, West Virginia is a city that is well known for its remarkable history. As you make your way down Main Street, you will come across structures that date back to the 1700s. On the other hand, the small town has a different vibe these days. Risky, and has developed into a fertile field for the proliferation of drug traffickers. About an hour and a half away from Baltimore, Maryland, and roughly the same distance away from Washington, District of Columbia, is the town of Martinsburg, West Virginia, which is known for its kind and welcoming community. See, where you actually do get to know the people that live around you. Sadly, the fact that we are located so close to the cities makes us an easier target in the drug pandemic that is sweeping through our region. However, because of the poor job market in this area, dealers and suppliers in large cities view us as a cash cow in a manner. This is on account of the high rate of addiction that exists in this state. A significant number of the local dealers that we see in West Virginia are children who have grown up in the juvenile justice system. We have dealt with these children when they were students and engaged in low-level drug transactions. As they have grown into adults, they have become higher-level drug traffickers. Similar to Sammy Rose. Sammy Rose is a member of the community who was born and raised in the city of Martinsburg. This individual possesses a high level of intelligence, which he utilized in his illegal activity. He is a very brilliant person. Additionally, it is terrible that we have had interactions with Sammy Rose throughout the course of the years. For many years, he has been involved in committing violent crimes. In the year 2000, he committed the crime of armed robbery by flogging a person with a pistol. In 2007, Samuel Rose was engaged in the sale of crack. The federal government brought charges against him. He was found guilty, and he ultimately served a sentence of about 8 years in prison. The number of drug connections that Samuel Rose had developed and expanded while he was incarcerated. The 8-year gap actually resulted in an upsurge in his drug peddling in the region, which occurred after he was freed from prison after serving his sentence. A confidential source who was able to make direct purchases from Samuel Rose was utilized in the beginning stages of our investigation. We were able to follow through on surveillance and discover that Samuel Rose was gaining access to larger quantities of narcotics than we had previously known him to have before his arrest. This was made possible by the controlled purchases that we made. Within a reasonable amount of time, we will be able to submit a request to the court to have his mobile phone tapped. We were able to make significant progress in our efforts to ascertain the scope of his drug trafficking network as a result of this realization. Calls would come in to obtain cocaine, and people would line up at the locations where these transactions would take place. This ultimately led us to Top 3 Sources, an appliance company located in Hagerstown, Maryland, which is located in the state of Maryland. Top 3 Sources appears to be a store that sells home appliances and might be located on any street in the United States. The fact that they would sell on credit was advertised prominently. They not only had a showroom, but they also appeared to have a bank account that existed legitimately. With the use of surveillance of the top 3 suppliers, we were able to observe the shipment of home appliances during strange hours of the night. Additionally, it would appear that the shipments are arriving from a link that is located within the Dominican Republic. That was a questionable one. We were able to intercept conversations that were related to the distribution of drugs coming from the Dominican Republic. After further investigation, we discovered that the organization was hiding the drugs within the appliances, including washing machines, dishwashers, dryers, and refrigerators, with the majority of the time hiding them within the frames of such equipment. Afterwards, these home appliances are placed inside of enormous sea containers and transported to a port located within the United States of America. Following the loading of these sea containers onto trucks, they are transferred to Hagerstown, which is located in Maryland. The locations of the top 3 sources were found. As a result of our study, we discovered that Sammy would acquire substantial sources of supplies and then distribute them around the Martinsburg region. We are aware at this point that Samuel Rose is a member of a much wider organization than we were previously aware of. It has been determined that Lenin Erasmo Lunimoto, better known by his nickname Poppy, is the proprietor of Top 3 Sources. The organization that was involved in the trafficking of drugs was led by him. It was Juan Manuel de la Rosa Tejada, who served as his right-hand man. Small Poppy was the name that was given to him. Within this corporation, Sammy Rose occupies the position of the drug distributor for the state of West Virginia. Due to the fact that all of the money that originates from locations such as Martinsburg, West Virginia, finds its way into the organization, this is a very important position for the organization. Through the utilization of Sammy Rose's drug sales, nearly a year had passed since we had first become involved in the investigation at this time. According to what we discovered, the top 3 suppliers all have residential units, and at least one of them was home to little Poppy. A search warrant was issued for the top 3 sources, and we were successful in obtaining it. A sizable quantity of illegal substances is discovered by the law enforcement agents during their investigation of the appliances. There is around 8 kilos of cocaine, a significant quantity of crack, and approximately 1 kilogram of fentanyl. Additionally, there is a significant quantity of crack. It was a significant achievement to be able to capture Small Poppy. The removal of that particular person from the equation was going to have a significant effect on the activities that this group was carrying out in the state of West Virginia. Eliminating Samuel Rose is the next phase in the process. Oh, I see. As a result of the activities that this company was engaged in on a single day, the quantity of illegal substances that were taken from the 3 most popular appliance stores was easily greater than $500,000. Within the scope of this inquiry, we were ultimately successful in indicting 34 individuals. One of them was Sammy Rose. We were unable to locate him when the officers went out to make the arrest, but they were successful. It was at that moment that we became aware that Sammy Rose was evading capture. The proprietor of Top 3 Sources, Lenin Erasmo Lunimoto, commonly known as Poppy, was finally located and detained in the Dominican Republic in September of 2023, 2 years after the indictment was handed down. He was then transported to the United States to face charges. We are still looking for Sammy Rose, who is the last important player from this organization that we have not yet captured. It is our understanding that he has family and friends in the vicinity, and as a result, we do not believe that he would stray too far from any kind of support network. A reward of $25,000 has been offered by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, for any information that leads to the successful apprehension of Sammy Rose. He was involved in the distribution of illegal drugs. Several violent crimes have been committed by him. We have reason to believe that Sammy Rose is a significantly risky person. he has fled the scene. In addition, he does not wish to be taken into custody. Because of this, it is of utmost significance to us that we possess the ability to remove this thread from the streets. In addition to having brown eyes and black hair, Samuel Rose is 43 years old. He stands at a height of 5 feet 8 inches and weighed somewhere between 165 and 190 pounds when he was last seen. One of his scars is located on his stomach, and he has a tattoo of barbed wire on his left arm. The charges against Rose include assisting and abetting the distribution of heroin and fentanyl, which are among the several criminal narcotics charges that she is facing. He has strong ties to Martinsburg, West Virginia, as well as the surrounding areas of Washington, District of Columbia, Baltimore, Maryland, and Prince George's County, Maryland, among other places. Under no circumstances should you approach Rose, even if you see him or have any idea where he could be. In addition to having a history of violent behavior, he is thought to be armed and dangerous. Rachel, I am aware that when others looked at her, they felt a sense of admiration for her beauty. Nevertheless, the aspect of her that was visible was what made her stand out from the crowd. She was really loving and compassionate, quite outgoing, and she was always laughing. Her demeanor was very extroverted. The mother of 5 children, Rachel Morin, was a single parent. At approximately 6:30 o'clock in the evening on August 5th, 2023, she embarked on a journey down the Ma and Pa Trail. As soon as she did not return home, her family immediately realized that something was wrong with her departure. It was discovered the following day that her vehicle was still parked at the trailhead, and not long after that, her body was as well. Our children will never have a mother to watch them grow up because we are not going to be there for them. It has caused our family to drift apart. Since Saturday, August 5th, 12 days ago, the Hartford County Sheriff's Office has been working nonstop to ensure that Rachel Morin receives justice and, with any luck, that her family is able to find some kind of peace. Despite the fact that they did not have much information to go on, the authorities gathered DNA samples from Rachel's body. This DNA was saved in the National DNA Database, which is utilized by the law enforcement agencies. Their subsequent discovery would leave everyone in a state of bewilderment. It has been determined that this DNA evidence is a match that is connected to a home invasion and attack that occurred on a young child. This past March, the Hartford Police Department in Los Angeles was taken aback when they discovered that the person responsible for Rachel's death had left a DNA trail behind in South Los Angeles. It came to their attention that on March 26, 2023, he had visited a residence located in Los Angeles, as well as assaulted a little girl. A surveillance camera installed in the home was able to record him exiting the residence. As a result of the suspect leaving behind a hat, the Los Angeles Police Department was able to get his DNA. Do they not possess any information that is genuine and unambiguous on what took place with Rachel? Almost as if we had no hope at all. This is not a conclusion. This group of victims and their families are deserving of justice. To acquire it, we require your assistance. It is important to note that the initial event that was connected to this suspect took place in Los Angeles on March 26th of the previous year. After a period of 4 months, on August 6th, the body of Rachel Morin was discovered along the Ma and Pa Trail in Bel Air, Maryland. And the DNA that was found at that crime scene was identical to the DNA that was found at the Quesnel. It was a mother who had 5 children whom she had to leave behind. There is a strong possibility that there are further victims around the world. The authorities, however, have just recently made available a couple of sketches of the suspect, so take a good, long look at this specific individual. A hat that is comparable to the one that was abandoned at the crime site in Los Angeles can be seen on him in one of the photographs. He is a male in his 20s who stands at a height of 5 feet 9 inches and weighs approximately 160 pounds, according to the description. If you have any information that could lead to the identification and arrest of the person responsible for the murder of Rachel Morin, you are eligible to receive a reward of $300,000. I beg you, immediately get in touch with us if you have any information. Get the job done correctly. Call the number 866-AMW-TIPS or visit the website bmwtips.com. This week, we also have a vault case that is quite intriguing to look into. Let me tell you, Dad, this one is just remarkable. When Ted Conrad left the Society National Bank in 1969, he was carrying a paper bag that contained a sum of money equal to $215,000. As he lay dying more than half a century later, his daughter Ashley was astonished to learn that her father had perpetrated one of the most significant bank robberies in the history of Cleveland, Ohio, and that he had lived his whole life under a new identity in order to avoid being arrested. It is our intention to have a conversation with her about this astounding discovery and the implications it had for her family. To begin, however, I would like to show you a clip from an episode of America's Most Wanted that was broadcast in the year 2010. Ted Conrad is yet another fugitive who could be situated anyplace at this very moment. Conrad was raised in Cleveland, Ohio, and he was recognized as an all-American child. He has boyish good looks and charisma to match. In the year 1969, he secured a summer job. Ted Conrad had been working at Society National Bank as the manager of the vault teller position, but he had far more ambitious goals. In the past, Ted Conrad had a strong preoccupation with a film that was titled The Thomas Crown Affair. Additionally, according to his buddies, he watched it a minimum of 6 times. In addition, the film was centered around a bank robbery. It would appear that Ted Conrad may have based himself after that piece of literature. On the 11th of July, 1969, Conrad allegedly departed the bank while carrying his lunch bag, as reported by the FBI. Located within it, $215,000. As soon as the tellers recognized that the money had been stolen, they also discovered that Conrad had vanished. In spite of the fact that the spectacular robbery made national news, Conrad disappeared. Do you have any idea where Ted Conrad is hiding? In order to take him down, kindly phone our emergency line. Our blood that is icy. In the month of September of last year, it took place in Philadelphia in the 7300 block of 19th Street. Rodney Zellers, 39 years old, has been identified as the shooter by the police, and they are requesting your assistance in locating him as quickly as possible. Take a look at the culprit getting out of a blue Ford Edge from 2012 and making his way across the street to the victim, who is 26 years old, while his gun is in his hand. Zellers is shown walking directly up to the victim and firing numerous bullets at him, hitting him multiple times in the torso before sprinting back to the 2012 blue Ford Edge with a PA tag. This is seen from a different position. I am waiting for him at LLM 6974, where there is a female driver who is unfamiliar to me. They make a hasty exit from the situation as soon as Zellers enters the building. Soon after that, the victim succumbed to his injuries and passed away. There is a reward of $20,000 being offered by the Philadelphia Police Department for any information that leads to the arrest of the culprit, Rodney Zellers. Observe him once more with great attention. This individual is a black male that is 39 years old, stands 5 feet 9 inches tall, and weighs 350 pounds. A scumbag, have you seen him? If that is the case, please send us your suggestions. Or AM-TIPS, which is 866 AMW-TIPS. We ask that you please do the right thing and get in touch with us as soon as possible if you have any information about any of the fugitives that you reported seeing tonight. The FBI has identified Alex Castillo as one of the top 10 most sought fugitives. As of right now, he is 25 years old, stands 5 feet 6 inches tall, has brown eyes and black hair, and weighed 185 pounds when he was last seen. It's possible that he's currently in the state of Guanajuato or Veracruz, or maybe in the Mexican state of Aguas Calientes himself. He is also connected to the city of Phoenix, Arizona. There is a continuum of ages that we have for what Castillo would look like now. A reward of up to $250,000 is being offered for information that leads straight to his capture. At the present time, Samuel Rose is 43 years old, and he has brown eyes and black hair. He is 5 feet 8 inches tall and weighs between 165 and 190 pounds when he was last seen. With a scar on his stomach and a tattoo of barbed wire on his left arm, he is a very visible individual. Martinsburg, West Virginia, as well as the nearby areas of Washington, District of Columbia, Baltimore, and Prince George's County, Maryland, are all places that Rose has ties to. And finally, this unidentified individual, who has been linked to the death of Rachel Morin, as well as an incident that occurred in Los Angeles which included a young woman. Take a look at it in great detail. He is a young man in his 20s who stands at a height of approximately 5 feet 9 inches and weighs approximately 160 pounds. It is determined by DNA evidence that he was in Los Angeles in March and that he was in Maryland as of August 2023. On the other hand, authorities believe that he could be anywhere and they require your assistance. Additionally, keep in mind that even the smallest tip has the potential to completely open these cases, so please continue to be on the watch.